Hello, welcome to a new episode of Entrepreneurship for the Future. I'm Patty Mora, and together with Grok, the AI from XAI, we'll talk about deep tech startups in Mexico and Latin America. We'll also discuss how ChatGPT visualizes business opportunities and the ideal founding team profile for a deep tech startup. Are you ready? Let's get started.
Ever get that feeling that the really big leaps forward, the stuff that truly changes how we live and work, isn't just about, small improvements?
Yeah, like those massive game-changing shifts.
Exactly. The ones powered by real science, real engineering. I mean, you ever wonder what breakthroughs are just over the horizon and how they'll impact your life or your work?
That's a perfect setup for what we're diving into today. We're talking about deep tech startups.
Deep tech, right.
And these aren't your standard tech companies, the ones focusing on apps or the latest online shopping trend. Deep tech is, it's more fundamental.
Yeah, we're looking at companies built on actual significant scientific discoveries or really novel engineering. Think new materials we've never seen, or AI that can genuinely reason and create.
Biology, right. Revolutionary advances there. These are the companies tackling the planet's really tough problems head on.
From climate change solutions to completely reshaping healthcare.
To feeding everyone, the potential is just immense. It's about addressing these huge societal challenges, and that's what we're exploring in this deep dive.
So our mission today, really get under the hood of these future-forward deep tech startups. We'll look globally, but also zoom in on what's happening in Mexico, which looks pretty dynamic.
And we've gone through quite a bit of material. Reports from Boston Consulting Group, Hello Tomorrow, TechCrunch articles.
Yeah, government stuff like Startup Mexico, academic insights from MIT Sloan, Harvard Business Review, even perspectives from generative AI.
So the goal is to pull out the key insights and figure out what it all means for you, the listener.
Okay, let's dive in. Where should we start? The global picture.
Let's start there. The global impact. One of the biggest things is the innovation itself. Because it's based on fundamental science or engineering, they create really valuable IP.
IP, intellectual property.
Exactly. And it's hard to copy. Think about DeepMind, for example, their AI research.
Yeah.
Hugely impactful for Google products.
Right. That foundational stuff creates a real lasting advantage.
Yeah.
It's not just a clever app idea.
Precisely. It's about solving genuinely tough scientific puzzles. And that has serious implications, socially and economically.
Okay, tell me more about that.
Well, they're tackling those huge global challenges we mentioned. Climate change, health, food security.
Like practical examples.
Yeah, like developing eco-friendly cements and steels. Huge potential for cutting emissions in construction. And it's not just potential, and money is following.
Oh, yeah.
Get this, about 20% of all global venture capital funding now goes into deep tech.
Wow, 20%. That's a lot. That's a serious vote of confidence.
It really is. These aren't just fringe experiments anymore. They're attracting serious cash.
And what's interesting is where that funding is going within deep tech, how that's shifting.
Right.
Suggests investors are getting smarter about specific scientific domain.
Okay. It's a big investment, and I think I saw something in the sources about collaboration. They don't work in isolation. That's absolutely crucial. Deep tech startups thrive on collaboration. They often partner with universities.
This is research, right?
Exactly. And governments, big international corporations. It gives them knowledge, resources, and importantly, scale. It amplifies their impact.
Like the Climate Finance Leadership Initiative in India.
Perfect example. Shows how partnerships can speed up getting these solutions out there.
So it's like a multiplier effect.
Yeah.
But it can't all be easy, surely. What are the big challenges they face?
You're right. It's definitely not smooth sailing. They hit some unique hurdles, the R&D timelines, often much, much longer than your typical tech startup.
Years, potentially.
Potential years, yeah. Initial costs can be sky high, too. Specialized equipment, highly skilled people. It adds up.
Plus regulations, I imagine, especially in bio or materials.
Exactly. Strict regulations are a big one. And interestingly, the standard lean startup playbook doesn't always fit. Well, HBR pointed this out. You can't just iterate quickly and pivot based on customer feedback when you're dealing with fundamental science. You can't A/B test a molecule, right?
Good point. Okay, that gives us a good feel for the global scene. Now, Mexico. The sources suggest it's an interesting one to watch.
Definitely. So zooming in on Mexico, it's actually the second largest tech hub in Latin America. Over 800 tech companies, 6 unicorns.
Unicorns, billion-dollar companies, like Kovac, Clip.
Right. Kovac, Clip, Bitso, mostly fintech and e-commerce focused historically. So a strong traditional tech scene exists.
Okay, established in conventional tech. But what about deep tech specifically? Is that bubbling up?
It seems to be. While fintech and e-commerce have dominated, there's growing momentum for deep tech. Government initiatives like Startup Mexico, the Lay FinTech, they're helping create a more supportive environment.
And investment. Is money flowing towards Mexican deep tech?
Well, there's a projection. TechCrunch and the IDB mentioned a potential 20-fold increase in VC investment across Latin America, including Mexico, in the next decade. That could be huge fuel for deep tech.
20-fold. Wow, that's transformative potential. So early days, but the ingredients might be there. Any specific Mexican deep tech examples stand out?
The sources didn't list tons, but Eva, the health tech company, was mentioned. Developing portable breast cancer detection devices. That feels like deep tech innovation.
Yeah, that definitely fits. But the challenges, are they tougher in Mexico?
They seem to echo the global ones, maybe more acutely. Need for significant capital, those long development times, and just lower visibility compared to, say, the US or Germany.
Makes sense if the main focus has been elsewhere. Is there supported infrastructure like incubators?
Yes, that's a positive sign. Mexico has over 50 accelerators and incubators. Maybe not all deep tech focused yet, but the infrastructure is there.
Potential support then.
And events like Startup Olay, which connects startups with investors and corporations, have a presence there. That's vital for funding and growth.
Okay, encouraging signs. Growing interest, government support, incubators, investor connections. It feels like the groundwork is being laid, even if it's early.
Exactly. Now, looking beyond the current scene, what about the future? Our AI sources, Grok and ChatGPT, had some interesting things to say.
The future trends.
Yeah.
What did Grok highlight for, say, 2025?
Unsurprisingly, artificial intelligence was top. Especially generative AI. Applications everywhere, health, finance, manufacturing.
Yeah, AI is everywhere now. Market size projected over $1 trillion by 2029.
That's the projection. Massive, though ethical concerns, privacy, data security, those are still big challenges to navigate.
Of course. What else was big on Grok's list?
Quantum computing. Growing interest globally in building more powerful systems, big potential impact on cryptography, drug discovery.
Right, the really complex stuff.
Yeah, and you see things like the Deep Tech Lab Quantum Accelerator popping up. But again, high development costs, need for specialized infrastructure, it's still tough.
Quantum still feels a bit sci-fi, but the potential is undeniable. What about life sciences? Biotech.
Another key area, Grok sees big advances in gene editing, like CRISPR, personalized medicine becoming more real. Big implications for health, obviously, but also agriculture.
Like gene-edited crops.
Exactly. Pest-resistant crops, for instance. Plus, better diagnostics, remote health solutions, lots of opportunity. But again, strict regulations and ethical debates are part of the package.
Naturally. Okay, moving from bio, what about machines? Robotics?
Advanced robotics. Expect more autonomous robots in manufacturing, healthcare, even space exploration, including those little nanosatellites.
Nanosatellites.
Okay, AI is the key driver there, making them more autonomous. Challenges, still cost, and making them work smoothly with existing systems compatibility.
Smarter robots, more places. Makes sense. And sustainability has to be huge, right?
Absolutely. Sustainability and green tech are major. Renewable energy, carbon capture tech, sustainable supply chains, record investment flowing in.
Driven by necessity, really.
Totally.
Yeah.
But scaling these green technologies up globally and dealing with the high initial costs remain big hurdles.
Definitely. Did Grok mention any less mainstream areas? More emerging tech?
It did. Neuromorph computing inspired by the human brain.
Brain-inspired chips.
Kind of. The idea is huge energy efficiency for tasks like pattern recognition, mimicking the brain's parallel processing. Still early days, though. Technical challenges, getting industry to adopt it.
Fascinating concept.
And nanotechnology, still progressing. Better drug delivery inside the body, advanced materials for electronics, but safety and regulations around nanomaterials are still being worked out.
Okay, what else?
Digital twins, making virtual replicas of things, cars, cities for simulation, improving efficiency, planning.
Like testing traffic patterns virtually.
Exactly, but you need complex data systems to make them work well. Autonomous vehicles still moving forward, promising safer, more efficient transport, but regulatory issues, infrastructure needs, public acceptance, still big question marks.
The self-driving car future is taking a while.
It is. And finally, space tech. growth in satellites, robotics for communication, exploration, but super high costs and technical risks are always part of space ventures.
So a really diverse mix of powerful technologies. And Grok summarized the challenges too.
Yes, a neat summary. And overall, the deep tech market is projected to grow massively from maybe $700 million in 2024 to nearly $4 billion by 2034.
Wow, that's almost a 19% compound annual growth rate. Huge momentum.
Definitely underscores the potential everyone sees.
Okay, huge potential globally. Let's bring it back to Latin America now. The sources gave some really specific startup examples there.
They did. Argentina, for instance, seems strong in biotech. You've got GridX BioHealth and Climate Focus. Panerum doing convergent deep tech. Egg, also biotech.
Convergent deep tech, what's that?
Good question. The source didn't elaborate much, but likely means combining multiple deep technologies. Argentina also has Codiga, using AI for industry, Oasis and clean tech, and Neuralis, a cybersecurity firm, got acquired, shows exit potential.
And they have dedicated deep tech funds too.
7 of them, apparently, suggests a real focus, especially in biotech.
Interesting specialization. Why biotech there, do you think?
No.
Strong universities, maybe.
Could be. Strong research base, maybe government focus, talent concentration. Brazil is another big one. Very diverse ecosystem. Mendelix is a standout.
Genomics, right? Low-cost sequencing.
Yeah, low-cost sequencing, big role in COVID testing, NIH collaboration, MIT award. Really impressive. Then there's Novospace in space tech.
Nanosatellites again.
Microterra in agrotech, sustainable farming. Voyager in robotics. Brazil leads LATAM in deep tech valuation overall. Big ecosystem.
Mendelix sounds like a prime example of deep tech impact democratizing genomics. What about other countries?
Chile. Chile has Sentinel Biotech Accelerator, turning research into startups, and LATAM GPT, an open source language model for the region.
Tailored to Latin American culture and language.
Costa Rica Establishment Labs, medical devices, they're listed on the NASDAQ. Big market cap.
Wow, NASDAQ listing from Costa Rica. Impressive.
Ecuador has Phrasal AI Data Science for IT, been around a while, and Kushki, a fintech unicorn.
Okay, interesting mix across the region. What about Mexico again? Any specific startup names?
Yeah, Cargamos Logistics Tech for e-commerce. Cambien personalized healthy food subscriptions using tech. Synapbox AI for analyzing consumer interactions.
Logistics, food tech, AI.
Yeah.
More diverse than just fintech commerce then.
Seems so. Peru has Tinnitus Peru Biomedical System for tinnitus treatment, got innovation awards. Uruguay had the Other Guys in digital entertainment tech, acquired by Gameloft.
Okay, so zooming out across LATAM, what's the big picture?
About 340 deep tech startups, valued around $8 billion total, created over 10,000 jobs, attracted maybe $2 billion in funding recently.
Significant members. And dominant sectors. Still biotech and AI.
Overwhelmingly. Around 72% of the startups fall into those two categories.
What are the big strengths driving this in LATAM?
Lower operating costs are a key advantage. Renting lab space in Argentina versus San Francisco, big difference.
Makes sense.
Plus, a really large pool of STEM talent. Almost 1 million researchers, many with PhDs.
Cost advantage plus talent. Compelling combo. But the challenges? Same old story.
Pretty much the same themes, yeah. Long R&D times, lack of infrastructure for scaling up manufacturing, and sometimes resistance from public universities on tech transfer, getting research out of the lab and into a company.
Right, the valley of death for commercialization. Which countries are leading the pack right now?
Looks like Brazil, Argentina, and Chile are the front runners. Most startups, innovation, investment. Mexico and Colombia are growing fast, definitely ones to watch. And Costa Rica, Ecuador showing surprising strength too.
And the actual impact. We mentioned Mendelix, Establishment Labs.
Yeah, Mendelix making genomics affordable. Establishment Labs' NASDAQ success, bringing in capital. Tinnitus Peru tackling a specific health issue. Shows the real-world difference these companies can make.
Definitely helps to see those concrete examples. LATAM Deep Tech seems like a space worth watching closely.
For sure. Now, shall we pivot to more strategic stuff? ChatGPT had some interesting takes on future opportunities.
Yeah, the strategic map. What does that look like?
ChatGPT organized opportunities for the next 5-10 years into key areas. First up, advanced and personalized AI.
Going beyond current AI.
Yeah, like multimodal models handling text, images, sound together, AI specifically for scientific discovery, and really personalized AI assistance.
Okay, makes sense. What else?
Applied quantum computing. Not just theory, but applications. Hybrid software using both classical and quantum simulations for industry, and quantum-proof security.
Getting ready for when quantum breaks current encryption.
Exactly. Then, next-gen biotechnology. Personalized therapies based on your genes, using biology as biofactories to make stuff. Ultra-fast diagnostics.
Biofactors, interesting term. Pushing the boundaries there.
For sure. Also, advanced materials and nanotechnology. Think metamaterials with programmable properties.
Like invisibility cloaks. Maybe not quite yet.
Maybe someday. Nanomedicine for targeted drug delivery. Better superconductors. Really fundamental stuff.
Energy must be on there too.
Absolutely. Next-gen sustainable energy. Fusion power, the holy grail. Revolutionary batteries, better density, faster charging, large-scale carbon capture.
Fusion?
Yeah.
Still feels far off, but huge if it happens. Batteries and carbon capture feel more immediate.
Agreed. Then, the really ambitious stuff. Space and space colonization.
Seriously. Like habitats on Mars.
Potentially. Miniaturized satellites, space mining for resources, and yes, extraterrestrial habitat, long-term vision stuff.
Okay, wow. Back down to Earth.
Neurotechnology and brain-computer interfaces, BCIs. Non-invasive devices for control or communication. Therapies for brain conditions, maybe even cognitive enhancement.
BCIs. Fascinating and slightly scary.
Can be. And finally, technological security, especially post-AI cyber defense. Quantum security again, and using AI itself for defense systems.
A comprehensive list. Did ChatGPT help prioritize these? Seems like a lot to tackle.
Yes, it suggested a framework. Technological risk, time to market, and initial investment needed.
Okay, how did that break down? High priority, low risk.
High immediate priority, low risk. Short time to market things like personalized AI for health education, low-cost nanosatellites for niche uses, modular carbon capture for smaller scale deployment.
Stuff that's maybe more achievable sooner. What about medium term, higher strategic value?
High strategic priority, medium risk, medium time that included hybrid quantum software, non-invasive BCIs, and advanced batteries if they get the big funding needed.
Okay. And the long shots, high risk, high reward.
That's where you find things like super-specific gene therapies for tough diseases, quantum cryptography, medical nanorobots working inside you, space mining robots.
The really sci-fi sounding stuff.
Exactly. Big challenges, long timelines, but potentially world-changing if they pan out.
That's a super helpful framework. Risk versus reward versus time. Did ChatGPT map out a timeline too? Like a roadmap?
It did. Short, medium, long term. Short term, say 2025, 2028. Focus on getting a minimum viable product, an MVP, out the door.
MVP basic version to test the market.
Right. Gain initial traction, especially in those immediate priority areas. AI, small satellites, carbon capture, key actions. Launch the MVP, find early adopters, get seed funding or into an accelerator, protect your IP.
Critical first steps. Medium term, maybe 2028, 2031.
Medium term is about scaling. Scaling the tech, expanding the market, especially in those strategic priority areas, hybrid quantum, BCIs, batteries, key actions. Expand the product line, get bigger funding, Series A, B, build strategic alliances, navigate regulations and certifications.
Moving from proof of concept to real growth, and long-term, out to 2035.
Long-term is aiming for leadership, maybe even disruption, especially in those high-risk, high-reward areas, gene therapy, nanorobots, space tech. Actions here, reinvest heavily in R&D, maybe spin off parts of the tech or license it, look at exit options, IPO, acquisition, maybe join huge mission-driven projects.
Definitely a marathon, like you said earlier. Any key strategic notes ChatGPT emphasized for this journey?
Yeah, a few crucial ones. Deep tech takes time, longer maturation than typical startups. Intellectual property, absolutely critical, protect it fiercely from day one. Funding needs are different, often bigger checks, more patient investors needed. And strategic partners, universities, research centers, government, incredibly valuable.
All makes sense for this kind of venture. Now, the team. Who do you need to pull this off? What did ChatGPT say about the ideal founding team?
Okay, the ideal team usually starts with a chief science officer, the CSO.
The science brain.
Exactly. PhD or master's in the field, validates the science, designs experiments, protects the IP. Then, the chief technology officer, CTO.
The builder.
The builder. Strong engineering background, leads prototyping, figures out how to scale the tech. And of course, the chief executive officer, CEO.
The leader, strategist, fundraiser.
Right. Needs startup experience, good at fundraising, especially explaining complex science to investors, building those crucial alliances.
Science, tech, business. The core triangle. Any other key roles early on?
Maybe not full-time immediately, but having someone strong in business development or maybe an advisory CFO can be huge. Focusing on sales, partnerships, finance, especially someone who's commercialized complex tech before.
What's the bare minimum team to start in 2025, according to ChatGPT?
Probably CSO, CTO, CEO, that core trio. As you grow, you'll need specialists, regulatory experts, alliance managers, R&D directors.
So well-rounded team is key. Any tips on the qualities of that team?
Yeah, ChatGPT highlighted the value of hybrid profiles, people who get both the science tech and the business side. Flexibility is huge. Deep tech often requires pivots. Strong network, scientific, and industrial are essential. And the CEO's ability to tell the story, crucial for getting buy-in and funding.
Storytelling for complex science. That's the skill. Okay, the million-dollar question. How do you actually find these people? Where do you look?
ChatGPT had practical advice here. Universities and research centers, obvious place to start. Go to innovation events, talk to postdocs, PhDs whose work fits, maybe even partner with labs.
Mine the academic world. Makes sense.
Hackathons and science competitions, too. Great places to find skilled people who might be looking for a startup opportunity. Offer co-founder roles. Look for impact-driven folks.
Okay, what else?
Deep tech accelerators and fellowships. They often have founder matching programs. Network with their alumni.
Tap into existing deep tech networks.
And online communities. LinkedIn, ResearchGate, even relevant Twitter circles. Engage, start conversations. And finally, go to the physical deep tech events, summits, fairs. Network like crazy. Pitch your vision.
Multi-pronged approach.
Yeah.
Online, offline, academic, entrepreneurial. Did it suggest where to find specific roles?
Sort of. Like CSOs from uni labs or science hackathons, CTOs from accelerators or hardware hackathons, CEOs maybe from innovation communities or tech-focused MBA programs, patent specialists from tech law faculties or specialist networks.
Really targeted suggestions. And final tips for actually attracting this talent. It's competitive, right?
Definitely. Key tips. Have a super clear, compelling vision of the impact you want to make. Scientists and engineers often care deeply about solving big problems. Offer real co-founder status, real equity. Don't just offer a job. Make them true partners. Show you can provide access to the R&D facilities and resources they need. And demonstrate you have connections or a clear path to the funding required. That shows you understand the game.
Gotta show you're serious and have a plan. Did ChatGPT give examples of how to actually pitch someone to join?
It did. 2 versions. A professional one for LinkedIn, email, formal events. Focuses on the project area, the expertise needed, the global impact vision, mentioning you're building the team for programs, funds, clear call to action.
Solid, standard professional outreach was the other version.
More visionary, emotional. For informal networking. Focuses on building tech that changes the future, solving critical problems, the core founding team opportunity. More of a let's change the world together vibe. And importantly, attach a one-pager.
Ah, the one-pager. Quick summary.
Yeah. Project name, problem, who you need, what you bring, 3 to 5 year goals, essential info, concise format.
Good tip. And the follow-up. If someone says, maybe, tell me more.
2 follow-up examples too. An agile one quick message on LinkedIn, WhatsApp. Thanks. Suggest a brief call this week. Offer times. Share contact info. Quick and easy.
And the formal one.
More for email. Thanks. Propose specific call times dates. Suggest a platform, Zoom, Meet. Share contact info again. Slightly more structured.
Adapting the style. And tips for that crucial first call.
Key thing. Build connection first. Understand their motivation. Make it clear it's a co-founder role, building together. If it feels like a fit, suggest a technical follow-up. And listen more than you talk initially. What drives them?
Great advice. It's about partnership, not just hiring. Okay, this has been incredibly thorough, really deep dive. Let's try and summarize the key takeaways.
Absolutely. So, bottom line. Deep tech startups are tackling huge global problems using real scientific and engineering breakthroughs. It's a fast-moving field, massive potential. AI, quantum, biotech, energy, materials, you name it.
And while Mexico's deep tech scene is still emerging, Latin America overall is dynamic and growing. Lots of innovation, talent, and increasing investment there.
And for you, our listener, hopefully this gave you a solid overview of these complex trends and the really exciting possibilities opening up.
Yeah, a shortcut through a complex landscape.
So the final thought we want to leave you with, thinking about all these trends, AI, quantum, bio, space, which one do you think has the biggest potential to really shake things up in the next decade?
And thinking beyond that, what role could you play? As a user adopting the tech, an investor funding it, or maybe even a founder built.
It's been amazing to explore together the dip tech trends shaping 2025 and the impact they're having in LATAM and the world. Your support and enthusiasm make every episode special. Don't miss what's next. Subscribe to our Emprendiendo El Futuro channels on Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify for more content on innovation, technology, and entrepreneurship. Together, we'll keep building the future. Leave us your comments and share this episode with others passionate about change. Until next time.